Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I am beyond excited to be partying with you this evening. My name is Christina Goss. I am your book lady for this week, and this is the part of the show where I come out and show you all of our favorites, or a good bit of them. This is one of my favorite parts because normally I would love to be with you in person and let you explore the books. But I also know that shopping online, while convenient, is difficult to really get a feel for what books look like. And while most of our books don't come with like an age recommendation put on them, because reading is such a spectrum, you do kind of want to know what is inside a book and a little bit if it's going to be a right fit for your readers. So this is the part where I get to show you some favorites, and I want to respect your time. So I'm just going to kind of work through what I have. I have a few from every demographic or age group and some different interests. So I'm going to kind of start at the top and work my way down. Mostly that's because just how my piles of books are right now. So if you are joining us live, go ahead and drop a comment. If you are catching us on the replay, welcome either way. This is just an opportunity to give you some insights. So, um, older kids reading. So much of what we have at quick glance, people see a lot for younger kids. So I always like to make sure I highlight some of what we have for older kids. So some chapter books that are great for older readers. This is the Firestar, Maven and Reeve um, mystery. I feel like a lot of our older kid novels are mysteries. So I would check out the Firestar. Clockwork Sparrow. I have heard phenomenal things about this. And the nice thing about these books is that most of them are at a great price point. So both of those are $6.99. Just a reminder, right now until December 2nd, everything on our site is at least 15% off or more. And there is a select category that is 50 to 60% off. So definitely check that out, as well as the holiday bundles. So some of what you're seeing, you could just purchase already bundled and save money on it as well. So those two, and then the unicorn. So this is the Midnight Unicorn. These are going to be some of our older readers. In addition, we do have like the Charles Dickens, the abridged version of many of his works. And then there's the unabridged Around the World in 80 Days and unabridged Heidi. And so those are going to be the classic tales that you know. But for some of those new titles that maybe you don't have yet or can't get anywhere else, these would be some of my top recommendations for older kids. A little bit down from that, maybe would be Einstein the Penguin. So, like a mid-range, not quite an early reader, but not quite as advanced as like a regular chapter book. Einstein the Penguin is a 3-book series. Again, a mystery solving penguin. We do like the mystery. One of my biggest recommendations would be Kenzie and Max. This is a 7-book series, which is great, especially if your kids really get into it. It's a good, thick chapter book. Again, decent on the reading level. It is about 11-year-old twins who solve mysteries. So all of these, the Midnight Unicorn, I would probably age just a little bit up, but the rest of these would just be great chapter book options for your readers. And now for readers, this is probably about the closest, one of the closest things we have to a graphic novel. This, and I think there's a book called This Book Will Self-Destruct, and that is kind of like a comic style. So this Adventure Mice is, again, a good like starter novel. The authors have so much fun writing these books. We got to do an interview with them, and that was just really cool. Oh, I missed one. Another, oh, like another good chapter book series would be The Impossible Quest. Um, this one is like Dungeons and Dragons, and so if you have kind of that medieval um, interest, that would be another great one. So then working down, I would do Adventure Mice, um, Ella's Diaries, little peek inside. And then I would probably, okay, then I would start, these are going to be some more like, this is like between early and mid, uh, maybe kind of graphic novel-y. Um, Izzy the Inventor and the Unexpected Unicorn. And then we have some fun ones like fairy ponies, there's fairy unicorns. So you're, again, like a starter novel kind of level. And then we have our Billy B. Brown. And so these are going to be um, early, very early chapter books, bigger words. They're small books. Um, and so Billy B. Brown, and then there's a boy counterpart called Hey Jack, and then I think they have some books that kind of overlap. So these are going to be like your very early readers. Um, Look at me, still forgetting things. Well, this would be a good storybook. The Forgotten Fairy Tales and Brave and Brilliant Girls. The Brave and Brilliant Girls, these are hardcover books and they are all sorts of stories put into one, and there's all different ones. So this is the Forgotten Fairy Tales, but there's also Greek mythology, Girls Around the World, and I think like that one would have Mulan. And so they are some really, these would be great Christmas presents, but especially if you have like middle school girl age kind of. Um, they're great books for, I don't know, not women empowerment. Don't watch me put my foot in my mouth. They're great books for encouraging like female bravery and courage and some of those great um, qualities. Okay, we'll stop there. Um, okay, we're working our way back. One great activity book that I would recommend for older kids, like middle school, young high school, would be our escape room books. And so these have a pocket in the back with all of the puzzles and things that you need to solve. And then throughout the story, they have to go and solve these. And so there's Escape the Museum, Escape the Video Game, and Escape the Amusement Park. I do think one of those is sold out, and I don't remember which one. But these are a great Christmas present. They come at a price point of $22.99 before the sale. So definitely check these out. They are a great Christmas present option. Okay, now we're getting down to younger kids. One of our favorite storybooks would be the folk stories and Tall Tales. And so this, what I love about this is some of the um, illustrations, but it has all different types of stories. So, like Paul Bunyan is in here, Johnny Appleseed, John Henry and his hammer. So, there's some that we've heard, and then there's some that I hadn't heard of. And so, it's all like North American folklore, which is just a really fun and it's just really beautifully done. So, I would recommend that as a great Christmas present or um, family reading book to include. Okay, working our way back. We are. Okay, another fun story that I would recommend would be Move That Mountain. This is a two-sided story. So when you read it front to back, it tells one story, and then you flip it, and it says, "We can move mountains if we all play our part. Just read it again from the back to the start." And so when you read the story in reverse, it tells a different story. And so I think there's another one similar to this that's like on our rock or something. And so they're really fun. So definitely check out Move that mountain. It's a fun story and it's kind of mind blowing for kids when they're like, it's a different story on the way back. Please don't mind my dog who's having a bit of a emotional meltdown over here. Okay, organizing myself. See where we are with time. All right. Um, let's just keep in line with some of my favorite storybooks, and then I'm going to show some of my favorite resources for at-home learning. Number one recommendation is Nibbles. This is the original Nibbles. Nibbles is the friendly book-eating monster who eats his way through books at the library. So he gets out of his cage and he finds himself in the library and he gets himself into some classic tales and he just kind of messes them up a little bit and then he moves on to the next one. So he's a fun book-eating monster and then he escapes out the back and so then there's another one. There is Nibbles bedtime stories, there's Nibbles dinosaur guide, there are some Nibbles board books for shapes, colors, and numbers. Those are some of my favorites. Keeping in mind my kids are all 5 and under, but the big Nibbles are very fun for stories, and there's flaps and there's cutouts, and then yes, and then there is a Nibbles 2, which is out of stock, but I'm hoping in the new year will be coming back. Another great story time, we love this for bedtime. This is called You Choose. And every page is just a variety of options. If you could go anywhere, where would you go? And so everybody gets to take their turn to point where they would like to go. And then there's what kind of house would you like to live in? And if you got hungry, what would you eat? And if you got yourself a pet, what would you have? So some of them are kind of funny. Um, and then the last one, of course, is when you got tired. Where would you sleep? You choose good night. So it is a great bedtime story, and we personally love You Choose so much. Um, okay, and Poppy and Sam, if you are not familiar, one of our family favorites. This is the Poppy and Sam fairy tales, and so it is just a fun um, way where Poppy and Sam, there's Cinderella, Riding Hood, Sleeping Beauty, Three Little Pigs, Rumpelstiltskin, Goldilocks, and Poppy and Sam are just these sweet little brother and sister, and we love so many Poppy and Sam books. And this one is just a fun take on the classic fairy tales. Keeping in line with our Poppy and Sam obsession, we do love Poppy and Sam finger puppets. So this is the lamb, there's a kitten and a bunny. I used these at a story time today and I had this little boy like giggling the whole time. And it was like the sweetest thing ever. So Poppy and Sam, Little Lamb. Um, yes, great Christmas presents, great baby shower gifts. Totally would recommend. Okay, now for some of my at-home recommendations for learning, and then I'll wrap up with just a couple of Christmas books because I do want to be mindful of your time. Okay, Finger Trails books. These are great. There is uppercase, lowercase, and numbers, and so the whole book, everything is cut out so that the kids can just finger trail, trace, and work on tracing. These are great for the car. We take them on road trips. My kids love to do it. And so I would recommend Finger Trails as a great supplemental tool. Poppy and Sam Telling Time. It's a storybook book format, but the clock up top actually moves. And so as you tell the story, the kids are asked to like move the clock. And so they help you move to the clock to tell the time that you're asking them to. So my kids adore it, and I think yours would too. Okay, by way of phonics readers, there is my first phonics set, which comes with 20 books. And they all have a QR code on the back that will do like a read aloud as you're reading through the story. And these are great, um, almost have a dual reader feel to them. But there's a lot of repetition words and it's a lot of rhyming. So these books you can buy individually, but if you buy them as the reading set, that's the cheapest price per book you can find. And especially during a sale right now, it's a great time to get these big ticket items. I think the My First Phonics set is $70. And then there's the My First Reading Library, which is a um, like a gradual read. What is that? A progressive reader, which is 50 books. And I think that set is $80. And so the first 15 books are the very first reading, and then there's reading level 1, and there's reading level 2. And so there's books at all different levels. And so let me see, the very first reader, um, as you can see, lots of repetition, great big words, and it is kind of a dual reader. So this is what your kids are focusing on, and this is what you read to help fill the gaps. And then reading level 1 gets a little more involved and a little more of a storyline for them to be reading and following. And then reading level 2, again, just a little more involved. This one is a counting book, so the words also get bigger. You'll notice like the size of the words going from a 3-letter word to like a 6-letter word. So again, you can buy books individually, but when you buy them as the set, it is the best price point per book that you can get. So they're a great investment. Okay, we're so close. I'm sorry. Another great investment for your family, especially if you're doing homeschool, would be the Learning Palette. So one of the companies that we carry is Learning Wrap-Ups, which we've actually acquired. And one of the tools that they have is called the Learning Palette. And essentially, you buy the base, and then you buy the inserts that you need based on the age level and grade level that you have. And so this little card fits in here, and this is kindergarten level. And so they have to look here, and Igloo has a yellow circle. So we need to go find the I for Igloo and put the yellow disc down in the hole. And so they need to go around and solve this whole equation. So Jack in the Box would be purple with a hole in the middle. So we have that one correct. And then when you want to solve, you flip it over and you go see, you check your child's work and see if they have, so green is in the wrong spot. We got that wrong. And purple. And so you go around and you check their work and you say, okay, you have 3 wrong. And then they have to flip it over and you flip it over. And then they keep trying to solve their equations. So there's math, there's like I have a geometry one for 4th grade level that I like to show. So this is just a really cool tool, and once you buy the base, you can buy the insert packets for whatever grade level. So you could get one for each kid, or you could get one for the family and just buy the packets that you need for each person. Okay, I'm not going to open up both of these, but fun with numbers and fun with letters. These might actually be what convinced me that Paperpie needed to be part of our life. These are learning kits. So this is the Fun with Letters. It comes with sight word cards, flashcards, and a bag of wooden letters. And so with the numbers, it would be the same thing, except you're getting numbers instead of letters. And it would be counting cards and then equation cards. So addition on one side and subtraction on the other. And then these wooden letters, I can't find my F, but they are the same size as the letters. So the front of every one of these is a big cutout that the letter would fit into. But they also fit the letter sizes on the sight word cards. And both sets of cards are dry erase, and the sets come with a dry erase marker. And then if that's not enough, both kits come with like an activity book in the bottom. That is not multiple use, but like my sister-in-law said, she was probably just gonna laminate it and be able to reuse the books. So these Fun with Letters and Fun with Numbers, they're a 19.99 price point. So buying them on the sale is like the best time to get them, and they are some of our favorites. Okay, let me see time. All right, quickly just working through. There's some great Christmas books. Find the Duck at Christmas. Peek Inside, we love Peek Inside books, and the Peek Inside Nativity is really adorable. There's a Nibbles Christmas, which is worth checking out. Our Don't Tickle books, there's a reindeer, and it's so cute. So every animal you tickle it, and it makes its noise. Okay, lastly, one of my favorite Christmas books would be The Christmas Story. And so the first couple of pages tell the story of Mary and Joseph, and then the end opens up to the nativity, a pop-up nativity, which I think is brilliant. Um, and I should note, Advent calendars, 24 mini books, open a mystery door every day. There's a little book inside. 24 books, only 4 of them are Christmas themed. The rest are classic tales like Cinderella, Three Little Pigs, and these are normally $50 and they are on sale right now for 5. So I would so recommend adding 1 or 2 of these to your order. Get one for all of the nieces and nephews, families. Um, so that is the end of what I have to show. I want to be mindful of your time. If you have questions, you can comment on this, you can message me, reach out. I am so excited to introduce you to these things. I hope you saw some things you haven't seen before, um, and got reminded of some old favorites. So now, this is the part of the party where you get to go and shop and have fun. So the party will close tomorrow night, but if we need to extend a day or two, we can do that. Just be in contact with me, and we will get you and your family ready for the holidays with some amazing books and learning resources. So, thanks so much, and have a